Are you Jesus? We want to shelter you with God tonight.
Hey, good morning, Facebook. We're so excited to be here on Friday Morning Life Inspired with our very own Trina Uzlik, who works with us at Inspired Homes.
Uzlik.
Oh, I'm so glad you corrected me.
Yeah.
I've been saying it wrong. Uzlik. Okay, good to know. So anyway, Trina Uzlik is our guest today. We can't wait to hear about your inspired life.
Right.
And we want to thank Daryl Buchanan for letting us use his great We Have Jesus intro music. The song features Will Cole, Tish Pittman, and Janet Pittman. And you can get it on darylbuchanan.net or iTunes. So thanks, Daryl, for letting us use his music. And Trina is going to answer a few questions for us. If you've never watched Life Inspired before, we do this video every Friday morning, and we ask 3 questions. What was life going along? What was life like? So that's the life part. Before some ... and then God moment in your life, where God turned your direction and you have a turning point, kind of a trajectory change. And then now you're walking an inspired life. So what was life like before your ... turning point moment?
Right. So I've had actually a few
Most people have, yeah.
moments within the past year and a half.
Wow.
So before the first one, it was in high school, kind of high school into college. I was dating my high school sweetheart, and we were together for 5 years, and everything was almost 5 years. Everything was going really good. We loved each other very much and really thought we were going to get married. But, God stepped in and was like, no, you guys aren't, he's not the one. And that happened. The wedding, we were engaged, even.
Can you share what happened?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So what happened that you knew that God said he's not the one?
Well, my freshman year of college, I started to get little hints, like those little nudges here and there, that God was trying to tell me, it's time.
Wake up.
It's time. You need to leave. And of course, I was so hopelessly in love and loved him so much, and we were going to get married.
Yeah,
right.
It
can't be God. There's no way, because this has to work out.
Right.
So I refused to do it. I put my foot down, and I was like, no.
Not breaking out?
No, I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen. Well, once I did that, this was a year or so later from the first
sophomore year.
Right, yeah, sophomore year. I put my foot down and was like, no, I'm not doing it. And at that point, then he shifted from telling me to telling him.
Oh,
so
interesting. So God started to tell him.
Yeah, once I stopped and was like, no, I'm not doing it, I'm not breaking up with him, then he shifted to him and was like, okay, you need to break up with her.
Wow.
Which was very hard for both of us, and he did it. Which, thank God for that, because I didn't have the strength to do it, and he was so much stronger than I was. I could have never done it, and I'm so thankful that he did. And so that happened in September of 2017, I think it was.
Okay.
And it was very, very hard, to say the very least.
Right. Lots of tears.
Lots of tears, because it wasn't like, we were fighting or, things were going badly.
You still loved each other.
We still very much loved each other, and it was very hard for both of us. And we both coped with it in very bad ways. I had gotten into drinking and to, finding sexual activity other places, and which, was not my proudest moment in life. But then God brought me out of that as well. But as I was doing that stuff, I was hitting a very, very low point of doing all these things, and the wedding was just called off, and I was living with 2 roommates. One of them is my best friend. I love her so much. The other one I was very good friends with, but it was just not a good situation. It was a really abusive relationship mentally, and I was just not in a good place. And due to all of this, I was also, on top of it, starting to fail my classes in college.
Oh, wow.
And that was the point where the next ... moment kind of started creeping in of, is my major what I actually want to do?
Oh, and so now what time is this now?
This is
Early
my
18?
Yes, spring semester of junior year.
Which is a year ago.
Right. Yes. This
18,
was
2018.
that was a year ago. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
It's just a year ago.
Right.
Things have changed really fast.
Oh my
for you.
goodness. Yes, they have. So I start getting these, nudges again of like, this is not actually what you want to be doing. This is not what I have planned for you. And my major at the time was American Sign Language interpreting, which was really, really fun and really cool, and I loved it. But once I got to the interpreting classes my junior year, it was just not.
Didn't fulfill.
No, it didn't. It was fun to do, and I loved my classmates and all that stuff, but it was just not what I thought it was going to be. As much as I wanted it to be what I wanted, because I had been planning to do this since high school. Like, this is
Right.
what I wanted to do, and
Right.
now I'm getting here, and I find out it's not what I want to do. So how then do you cope with,
I have the wrong major. Oh,
I
no.
have the wrong major. My junior year, I have the wrong man, and so like everything that I thought I wanted my freshman year is now gone.
Wow.
And I didn't fully decide I was gonna change my major until October of senior year. So I hit senior year. All my other classmates are getting ready to go to practicum, which is like our internship. And now I'm just stuck. Like, what am I gonna graduate with? Like,
How am I going to graduate? at
where am
all?
I going to live? Right. And so, because I was planning for practicum to go down to Knoxville, Tennessee, and I was going to live there after graduation. Well, now that's out the door. So,
Did you get
what are
mad-
you doing, God? Like,
Yeah, did you get mad at God?
Oh my God, I was so mad at him.
So what do you do when you're mad at God?
Oh, I cry. Like,
Yeah.
that's just my reaction to things. I take a shower, and I just sit there and I cry, and I'm just like out loud, I'm just like, God, what are you doing? I have this, this, and this that I was gonna do, and what is going
You're rocking
on?
my world.
Right.
It's not supposed to be this way.
And I rebelled in the sense of going to the alcohol and to the sex and that sort of stuff too. So different ways of coping with what was going on, and I was becoming friends with people that weren't really good influences who were also doing those things, and so that's how I kind of got into it. But yeah, it was just it's been a crazy ride.
Right.
But
New ... moment in October.
right in October of this past year, my senior year of college, God is like, no, you're not doing interpreting. And it was, I'm the kind of person that when I commit to something, I do it.
Right.
And so for me to back out of something like that was very, very hard. And that's why it took me until senior year to
figure
get
that
me
out.
to quit, because
Right.
I didn't want to quit because it was too hard, because it was a very hard major. One of the hardest majors at my school. And so I was like, well, maybe it's just hard, and that's why I'm not really feeling like I love it, because it's really hard and I'm learning it. So maybe when I graduate and I start doing it, it'll be fine. But no. So it takes a lot for God to get me to do things a lot of the time. Right, yeah.
Stubborn streak.
God
God gave you that, by the way. He wants
Yeah.
you to have that tenacity, and he gave you that.
Right, no,
It's a
I'm
gift.
sure he will use it for many, many things.
Yep.
But it's also a weakness, and
Yeah.
it's something that I gotta try to,
Yeah.
now that I know
Right.
fully,
Right.
that I'm able to be like, okay, what is this? And
Right.
so, but now that I hit October, so I'm now at this point at 21, where I have no idea what I want to do. And in this amount of time, last summer, when I was still upset about the whole Ronald thing and all that stuff, I finally got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm done.
Whatever you want, God.
I'm not dating anymore. I am just gonna wait, and then whatever you send me is what you send me. Well, lo and behold, I go to Israel, of all places.
With school.
With school, I go on a trip to Israel, and my fiance now was on that trip, and we got engaged in October.
So you went, when was the trip? It was in October.
No, the trip was in May.
Oh, the trip was in May.
The trip was in May. We got engaged in October.
But you didn't even start dating him.
We started dating on the trip. Like, the trip was 2 weeks long.
Oh, okay.
And we met on the trip and started dating on the trip. He gave me a promise ring after 3 months and then proposed after 5. Which was crazy because before I started dating him, I was like, there is no way that there's no way I would even consider like being engaged to anybody until a year later, because you got to take a year to like go through all the seasons and to like really like meet all the family and get to know him and, you know, all that stuff. But I knew I was going to marry him in Israel, which was crazy.
But I thought you just said last summer was when you said, okay, fine, whoever you send me is, so it must have been summer, the prior summer.
No, it was right before I went on the trip in this past May.
Oh, in May. Okay. That you're like, yeah,
I'm done.
Not going to date anybody.
Whatever. Right.
And then like within a month, God says, oh yeah, you are.
Here you go. Yeah.
Surrender. Just surrender. And God says, it's because I got this better plan.
Right.
Don't be playing in the mud puddle in the backyard. Let's go to the beach. I got the beach for you.
I cannot tell you how many times I was on Facebook and, you know, that picture of Jesus holding a big teddy bear behind his back and a little girl that has a small teddy bear, and she's
I've not
like,
seen that.
oh, I saw it so many times while I was dating my ex. Ronald, so many times, and I always felt like, you know, I needed to see that image, but didn't want to accept it. And
you
so
liked your little teddy bear.
Oh, I love my little teddy bear so much. But God had a much bigger one in mind. And so we get to October, and I don't know what I want to do. Not the slightest idea. And so I am graduating with a general studies degree, which is fine. Like, that is totally fine. The more I talk to people about it, the more they're like, oh yeah, that's what I did. And I'm not, and you know,
it's okay.
It's great. Yeah.
You have a college degree.
Right.
You worked really hard to
get. I have a degree, and that's all that matters.
Right.
So, and so come December, when the semester's over, I'm been looking for a job for a couple months and nothing.
Just a part-time job.
Well, no, I'm looking for full time.
Okay.
Right, because, you know, I was able to have enough credits to only have to take one class this semester.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, let's get a full-time job. Like, let's go. Nothing. I was applying everywhere, anywhere and everywhere, but I wouldn't even get a call back to say, hey, come and interview. The one interview I did get, I went, and the lady that was supposed to interview me didn't show up. And
God was closing doors.
I know, yeah. And I kept calling. I'm like, you know, come on, like, I really want to interview for this job. And nothing. I never heard from her.
Wow.
Oh, it was crazy. And I was so mad. I was so frustrated. And
God, I'm mad at you again.
What are you doing? Why? I'm running out of money. And my parents, and my dad and John specifically, were...
And for Facebook watchers, John's the fiance.
Yeah, the fiance. Started to put the pressure on a little bit. They were starting to get a little nervous because, you know, I was running out of money, and now I got college loans that I got to pay, and, you know, you need to get a job. And I'm like, I know, I'm trying.
Talk to him. It's not about me.
I'm doing all that I can, but yeah. So, but then, so me and John are dog sitting as well. I had been doing that throughout college, and I love it. I love dogs, and so I was dog sitting for one of John's old neighbors. And who's Dale Nagel, who works for Inspired, and we needed to go pick up the check when we were done. And this was in December. They had gone on vacation over Christmas, and so came back in January, and I went over to pick up the check. I really didn't want to go pick up the check, actually, because
Why?
I did not want to, because I'm not a people person. I really, really don't like talking to new people.
You're so good with people.
I know.
I
I
had no
don't like it.
idea.
I'm so uncomfortable. And
Interesting.
I really, really didn't want to go over there because I had talking with his wife before, and she's very chatty. I love her. She's great. But she was very chatty the first time I had talked to her. And so I was really like, she's going to talk to me for a long time. And like, I
don't wanna
really,
do that.
I don't
know what to say.
I don't know what to say. And yeah, so, but John couldn't go over.
Oh,
And
so
he
you
had
to go by yourself.
told them that somebody was going to come pick up the check that day. So I went by myself. And, kind of dragging my heels, went over there and went to go pick up the check. And I get in there and, like I had predicted, she starts talking and we're talking. And I start telling her about...
Job hunting.
Yeah, job hunting. I have no idea what I want to do, but if you have any ideas, please shoot them my way or, whatever. And Dale comes home.
While you're talking to
While
Susan.
I'm talking to her. And he comes in at that moment when I'm talking about jobs and, and he's like, well, there's this, I don't know if it's something you'd be interested or not, but there's this marketing position that just opened up at Inspired and because Mindy just left. And so we, she did this and she did this and I don't know how it's going to work now, but if you want, you can go ahead and put an application in. And I was like, he was describing it. I was like, oh my God, that sounds perfect. Because I had talked to God and I was like, okay, I want the creative with the professional, but had no idea how to put those together. But that's what marketing is.
Right.
But just didn't know that that's what marketing was. And so it's just crazy how God will just drop things in your lap when you let him. And it's been a very crazy ride. But all of this to say that, if I've learned anything in the past 2 years is that, you're going to make plans, but you got to give it to God and he'll take care of it. And if it's not what you thought it was going to be, that's okay because it's going to be better than what you thought. And, the whole switch in majors and, change in relationships. And it was very, very hard. So hard. There's a scar on my heart that will never heal because of it. But it's okay. You get through it. And once you get to the other side and cross the top of the mountain, you see how beautiful the view is from up there as well. So
very good. Well spoken.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what do you do? Because a lot of our watchers are your age.
Right.
And they're like, they don't maybe have a connection with God and they don't understand. I mean, it's like, really what? You're 22 years old. Somebody my age, we've seen a lot of stuff and it's a little bit easier for somebody my age to say, you got to rely on God because life's just too hard.
Right.
But somebody in your age, usually, your generation is, not just your generation, all of our generations when we were younger were like, yeah, well, I got this until you get older and you figure out that you don't got this. So how do you stay connected and why do you follow Jesus? Why do you feel like that's your rock and how did you hear from him the different times, So what do you do?
Right.
How do you stay inspired?
Well, for me, how I hear from him is, and it's different for everybody.
Absolutely.
That's what I've heard
Which is why
across the
I always
board.
ask.
And so, yeah, me, it's like a nudge, like a little, kind of like a gut feeling, but a little more grounded than that. Like, when he first told me that I needed to break up with Ronald, it was like a tap on the shoulder kind of thing. Like a thought will just go into my mind.
So it sounds like Trina.
Right. It sounds like me, but I know it's not.
Because it's not what you
because
wanted.
it's not what I wanted. The struggle for me has always been, how do I differentiate my thoughts, his thoughts, and then thoughts from the enemy?
And how do you differentiate?
I'm still learning that. It's very, very hard, but I've found that the closer I get to him, the more I read my Bible, the more I pray, the more I worship, the easier it is for me to tell.
Cool.
It doesn't necessarily sound different, it feels different. I can kind of feel the difference between his thoughts versus the enemy's thoughts. And so
Awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Facebook, thanks for watching. So glad to have had Trina. I know that she would, well, maybe I don't know that. I didn't know it was hard for you to talk to people. Would you be willing if somebody wanted to, have a cup of
Oh,
coffee with
yeah.
you?
No. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So if you
Give
would
me a
want
call.
to, if you want to connect with Trina and ask her more about why and how she walks with Jesus, call her, text, message us right here on this feed, and, we can put you in contact. If you know somebody else who has a great story about a turning point and them walking with Jesus, we would love to put them on the red couch. And if it's okay, I would like to make a plug for a very interesting movie that has just come out. I have very beloved pro-choice friends, and I have very beloved pro-life friends, and everybody in between. And this new movie Unplanned that has come out, I went to see it, and I really felt like it is a very gentle, tender way to tell kind of both sides of the story, because this woman was on one side and now is on the other. And so if you have loved ones on an opposite side of that viewpoint and you would want to be able to have conversations with it, I think that this movie would be very enlightening and help you be able to love your loved ones better. I can't say it's an easy movie to watch. It was hard for me to watch. But I really think it's very helpful to open your eyes to both sides and help both sides love one another. So I really recommend Unplanned, the movie. So I just wanted to say that today. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
And God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. We always thank Daryl Buchanan for letting us have his music. Thanks. Bye, Facebook. Have a great weekend.
Yes, we have.